Hello and welcome to Leadership Loading. I'm Jason McLaren, and each week I meet with industry leaders and military veterans to discuss leadership in the workplace, veteran career transitions, and advice for those that are following in their footsteps. Today is episode number 1 with Randy Purum.
Those two different mindsets in the business world will help you ultimately be successful.
So glad to have Randy on with us today. He's a 22-year plus Army veteran, AMU graduate, one of my fellow alumni, and a CBRNE Army expert. He's going to talk to us a little bit today about his military career, his college path, and some of the things he's done to help with mentorship. He's got an eBook and a TV show called The New You, which I'll put in the show notes. And he's going to talk about all that and prepping for retirement since he is coming up on that time. But before we start the interview, let me remind you to sign up for our newsletter on the website leadershiploading.com. Also, you can join our Facebook group, Leadership Loading Podcast, and give us feedback on those two platforms or on iTunes where we can spread the word of the podcast. So with all that, let's get the download on leadership and the Army and all that stuff with Randy Purum. Joining me today from Italy is Randy Purum. Randy, welcome to Leadership Loading. Please tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
My name is Randy Purum. I was born February 28, 1980. Not quite a leap year, baby. I was close. Born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and graduated from Hillcrest High School out in Country Club Hills in 98. Joined the military shortly thereafter. Actually, I joined in 97, but had the delayed entry program. So I went to Fort McClellan for basic training and advanced individual training in 1998, June of 98, and been bouncing around ever since. Married, has a blended family of 6 kids, and currently I live in Naples, Italy, and been serving in the military for 22 years and some change now. So on that brink of retirement here in a few months, and go from there.
All right. Well, you talked about your delayed entry and all that stuff, and how you got when you joined the military. But what led you to actually join? What was the calling there?
Well, it was kind of a 2-pronged approach. The first one was I was engaged in high school, so I was like, I need to do something, with my life here, because I'm about to be married and potentially have kids and everything. So I started looking at the military option because I did have some other friends that were currently serving at that time. So they was like, they was trying to get me to join the Navy, and I was like, me and water don't get along like that. I love showers and baths, but not being on boats and trying to, And I seen Pearl Harbor. Nah, I'm good. So that was the one. And then the second reason was I wanted to pursue the opportunity to be able to travel and just meet people from all walks of life and everything. So that was the 2 main reasons why I joined the military. And ever since then, it's been awesome.
And so what is I know the Army calls it MOS. I'm an Air Force guy, and so, we just tell you what our job is. So what, I guess you can tell for all the Army guys what your MOS is, and then tell all the other people what your duties are, what your job is and what you do.
Yeah. So my MOS military code, military job description is called Chemical Operations Specialist, or CBRN, Chemical, Biological, Radiological, Nuclear Specialist. And so, but it's not what it sounds like. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Rock with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
That's how my recruiter got me. He was like, "You're gonna be doing the exact same thing." I ain't seen none of that crap yet. So 22 years. But no, I currently what I do on a day-to-day basis currently right now, I work in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, under Allied Joint Force Command in Naples here. And so I do policy reviews, doctrine review, and assist the other officers with meetings, and I attend meetings and stuff like that. So that's kind of like what my job consists of now. But previously, I was more into the decontamination, biological surveillance field. So that's what the MOS consists of, or the job.
Yeah, that's pretty similar to what I do now in the emergency management side. So that's interesting, interesting stuff. With all that, did you use any of that? Or is that what led to your college? Because I know you and we met through our university, American
Mm-hmm.
Military University, and I always say that college is important, and I've got some other guests that are going to try to talk to me about why, what they're doing and why it's not. But can you tell us if that's led to any reason why you got your college, or why you dove into college?
Yes and no. So in order to get promoted, you have to have some education. So I couldn't sit around stagnant, with a couple of babies, running around the house and everything else. So that was kind of the motivation there. What to stay focused anyways. I was already taking classes here and there and stuff. But I decided to stick with it because I actually enjoy school. I actually enjoyed learning, both the subject and from others, their perspectives and everything else. And so me getting into the education, it wasn't directly linked per se to my MOS, to my job, because for the Army side, they send you to school specifically for your job, so it was just more, a personal goal, personal gratification. And so I have my associates in applied technologies through Central Texas College, and I have my bachelor's in business administration through AMU, and I'm currently in my political science master's program at AMU also right now. So that's
Great.
Pretty much where we at with that.
Good stepping stones there. So I know, like I said, you and I met at college. We were involved in some of the same activities together. I know some of your volunteer stuff. You've done a lot of volunteer stuff, actually.
Still do.
Yeah.
It occupies my whole day.
Yeah. So with all that, can you tell us about some of those and why participating in those college volunteer opportunities outside the classroom is important?
Yes. So absolutely. Some of the things that I'm currently doing right now is I'm involved in, so AMU, for those that don't know, and I'll give that a little bit of background. American Military University is a online school. And so they have an online campus and everything, and all of the clubs and chapters or whatever you want to call them, the social programs, they're all online based. And so I'm a member of about 8 different clubs right now. And I thoroughly enjoy it. Currently, I'm most active with the Student Veterans of America and the Political Science Club. That's what I'm currently most active with, but I'm part of a bunch of different ones also. And I would say it's important to be a part of those things because, number one, you get to meet, your fellow students, fellow classmates, both inside the classroom and outside the classroom. And just like you and I, how we met, I believe we was taking a class together in one of the courses,
Yeah, and I think we were in SVA at the same time too.
Yep. Yeah. We was in a club together at the same time. And so it kind of transitioned from there. Here we are, almost 10 years later or so.
Yeah.
So I think it's a huge benefit to that. And the other organizations I'm involved with, I'm also involved with the Veterans of Foreign Wars, VFW. I serve as both a post commander here in Naples, and I'm also a district commander for the Department of Europe, District 1. And so I have 9 posts that, I command over here in Europe, in France, 1 post in France, Paris. Then I have 2 in Italy, and the other 6 are on the western side of Germany. So dealing with that, and also host a internet-based TV show called the Exceptional Conservative Network, but the show is called the New You. Now Equipped with Wisdom. Just a lot of busy work, but I love it, The other thing I also do for my job at work, I'm also the vice chairman for the Other Ranks Association. It's basically an NCO, non-commissioned officer club,
So I serve as the vice chairman for them. So we put together professional development series. Like we have guest speakers come in. We did a TED Talk a few weeks ago at work, just solely for that audience and everything else. And so we do a lot of great things around here, and I thoroughly enjoy it because leading into all of that, it gives you the opportunity to get out, talk to people forcefully, actually, because if you are a hermit or a recluse, you're not gonna make it. I thoroughly enjoy being having the opportunity to just meet all sorts of people from all walks of life, different countries, backgrounds, and everything else. And yeah, that's basically it.
You hit a couple of things there. The getting out. There's a lot of people that get out of the military and then they go into that hermit mode because they miss that brotherhood, they miss that camaraderie. I did that a little bit, but that also can affect you when you're going out looking for jobs when you get out. And that's, what this podcast is all about, is getting out of the military and transitioning, and also general leadership for those that aren't in the military. Getting in these clubs and getting in these organizations like American Legion and that sort of thing allows you to network not only with those that are, maybe been where you're going, but also that have been through what you've been through. So yeah, that's always important there. You mentioned your TV show.
Yes.
Where can we find the TV show at?
So you can go to the exceptionalconservativeshow.com, and you can browse through that because I'm a part of a network, so it's a series of different shows with my other co-network
Right.
partners. So we all have different shows. Mine's run on Mondays and Fridays at 7:05 p.m. Central European time, so 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's crazy dealing with these time zones, but
Right.
yeah, I do that, and we also have a Facebook page called the TECN. That's our parent page, and my personal show page is called The New with Randy and April.
And then you have a ebook that has a similar title, right? Or is it the same title?
Yeah, same title. I just got it in ebook format. Yep. The New You. Now Equipped with Wisdom. Talks about it has a two-pronged approach for those that's coming out of high school and looking to either join the military or come out of high school and have a career in the civilian sector. So I kind of cover, a lot of things covering both of those paths, and it kind of ends in the retirement mode. So I think I wrote it for myself, because I wrote it back in 2014. So every now and then I kind of crack it open. I'm like, what did I say back then?
Right. What are the main leadership skills you've learned that relates to your business skills?
That's a tough one. I always harp on, be a teacher, a mentor, and a coach, but also know when you need it. That's a big thing that among leaders, especially senior leaders, they forget when they need that mentoring themselves. They're so busy trying to harp on, teaching and setting a path for other people that they forget that they need that same thing themselves, not only to sharpen their own sword, but to stay current on the trends that are changing and everything else. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest things there, and it ties into being patient and understanding, because a lot of leaders, especially in the business domain, they're short fused, especially military leaders that come out of the military and they're going into the business sector, especially in that close gap of transitioning. They think that they can transfer or transplant that military leadership into the civilian sector, and it doesn't always work that way. So you have to learn to start cultivating patience within yourself and understanding, and then you can be candid and firm, but at the same time you want to be committed to growing a team together and learning from each other and saying, hey, okay, I got it, you screwed up, but here's how we fix it. Not here's how you're going to fix it. Here's how we fix it.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that's super important from a leadership aspect, from the military to the civilian side of the house.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to servant leadership. And after I got out of the military, I did have leaders that came out of the military and kind of were my supervisor, and we didn't get along because of that, because, you know, I had already made that assimilation to the civilian side, and they were trying to, you know, push that, you know, command presence on me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I kind of reverted back to my junior enlisted days.
The E4 Mafia.
Yeah. So we talked about your military experience and all your entrepreneurial efforts. So any tips for fellow veterans that are trying to either start their own business, grow a business, or, you know, that don't want to do the general career thing?
Yeah, I would say it's important to know what your passion is. You know, everybody has their hobby, but it's not necessarily their passion. And so I would say know your niche. You know, you can identify a market, you can identify, you know, a need in the marketplace in your community or in the business sector, but is that your passion? Just because there's an opportunity to fill a need, is that a need that you're going to want to fill every single day for the, you know, possibly for the rest of your life and everything else? And will you feed that same passion to it as if you were doing something else that you really wanted to do? So I would say, you know, just know what your passion is before you decide to jump into an endeavor that you're not going to be happy with, because you're not going to be as productive, or you're not going to be as enthusiastic about it. And then subsequently that business is going to fail and you're going to fail. And you're going to say, well, what went wrong? Well, you didn't like what you were doing in the first place. That's how a lot of us,
right.
You know, a lot of us in the military, we come in, you know, we just start loving it at first, and then after a while you start becoming, you know, like disgruntled, and you're like, okay, you know, I'm done with this mess, and that is your exit point, you know, because you're no longer have a passion for it. And it goes the same with running a business as a veteran, as a veteran entrepreneur. You know, you know what your passion is, and build a team. You know, whether it's a team of fellow veterans or a mixture. I always go with a mixture. You know, there's two books that I highly recommend: Team of Rivals and Team of Teams. You know, because those two different mindsets in the business world will help you ultimately be successful. Because when you bring on people that you know can't stand your guts, but they're willing to work with you,
right,
and they go against everything that you're saying in that meeting, it's to make you a better leader. Because you don't want somebody that's going to say, oh, yes, boss, that sounds great. That sounds great, when you know in the back of your mind that it's actually a dumb idea. So you want somebody that's going to challenge you every day to make you better, not to challenge you to set you up for failure. So I would say build a team of rivals, but also build a team of teams who's going to go out there and help you cultivate and be successful as a team, not so much as an individual, but as a team. So those are my tips to veteran entrepreneurs.
Definitely, and I'll put those books in the show notes when I do this. But yeah, I think you always need those devil advocates in your team, and you know, if you read any entrepreneurial book or anything like that, they always talk about your tribe and building your tribe, and I think that's important on, you know, having people in that tribe that are different than you, and then that, like you said, are a mix of your background and other backgrounds. Otherwise, you don't get that think mentality where you're, you know, typically, you know, generally just brainstorming, and that's what makes businesses grow and succeed. So yeah, I think that's some great skills there and tips.
Thanks. Yeah.
So you talked about all that, and you mentioned earlier about retirement. I guess, is that your next career move, or you got anything else up your sleeve?
Well, yes, I'm getting ready to retire here in a few months. It's kind of surreal because, you know, I've been doing this for so long, and it's like now it's like, okay, I gotta start getting rid of this stuff. But I'm looking forward to it, and then I'm gonna take like I said, the retirement comes in the summer here, and I'm planning on taking off a few months, you know, and just kind of like recalibrate the brain and sleep in a little bit, get a little fatter, grow a beard out, and then so I can blend into society a little better. But then I plan on running for Congress, for the U.S. House of Representatives out of Alaska. So be looking for me in the 2022 cycle.
There you go.
And like I said, I'm gonna take off and get myself calibrated again, and then I start launching my campaign and out of Alaska and everything, and see what happens from there. If that fails, it fails. I'll find something else to do. Yeah.
Always looking up. So Alaska, are you from Alaska, or you just want to go back there because you liked it?
I love Alaska. I always said, I wanted to go somewhere that had that mixture of remoteness, but also kind of like a city-like atmosphere, and it has all of that. I can be in Anchorage, be around the city life, and I can drive literally just 10 minutes, and I'm out in the wilderness. So I love that. Love it there. I'm from Chicago originally, and so there's not really much of home there anymore. My family is still there and everything. And I was just back there a few months ago for my sister's wedding. But it was just being there. I was just like, yeah, I don't see myself coming back here, not to live anyway. So
yeah,
Texas, I own a home in Texas, but I really don't plan on staying there either. I might do the snowbird thing, and off sessions or whatever else if I get elected.
right.
And go down to Texas and hang out for a little bit, and then come back up and get back to work. So that's the projection right now.
There you go. I guess I didn't know you were from Texas, or you have connections to Texas.
Not so much connections. Just my children are there, and own a house there, and I was stationed there for so many years, off and on. I was caught up in that Fort Hood cycle. So I had, it was like stationed there, and then I'll PCS somewhere, go to another assignment, they come right back. So it was doing that. So I got a lot of friends there, but yeah, just once again, Alaska outweighs it all. So that's what I'm looking forward to getting back to.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, I'm from there, so I'm always about going back as much as I can. So
Yep.
And Fort Hood, I guess that's the, it's a big base, we know, but I've already got another guest lined up that's done some time there. So I'm sure y'all all rotate through there a lot. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you kind of like have no choice.
Anything else for the listeners?
Just, stay focused, stay motivated. Like I said earlier, find what your passion is, and just stick to it. People are going to be naysayers. People are going to try to drag you down and everything else, or, try to sabotage you, to include family, so you just got to stay focused and do your thing, do what your calling is, and everything will be all right.
Definitely. Well, thanks, Randy. Thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and pick your brain on things. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to it. Yes, take care, and it was good talking to you again. And like I said, thanks for having me on.
Well, that's all for today's episode of Leadership Loading. Thanks for listening, and thank you to Randy Pirom for joining me today. Join us again next time when we continue our discussions on veteran transformation, leadership in the workplace, and make sure you subscribe to all of our podcasts on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. Plus, if you haven't joined our email list at leadershiploading.com, head over there because we will have giveaways with our future guests. So, this is Jason McLaren signing off.